Hello, my name is Amanda, and today I'm going to be showing you two different methods with step-by-step instructions on how to use great product photography. It is important to me that you guys are able to do this in a way that's simple, that's easy, and definitely that's affordable. So I want to teach you using an iPhone or a smartphone. The things you'll need are super easy and hopefully super convenient for you. First thing is a white poster board that's flexible that you'll be able to bend and fold in the shape you want. The second thing is a white foam core. So this is a little bit thick here and this is going to stand your product up. It's very important for both the poster board and the foam core to get white, a pure white. You don't want to get a cream color or an off-white or something beige or blue. You want to make sure that it's white because that's going to bounce the light the best and get the best product photo. Also, we'll want 3/4 inch duct tape. This is white duct tape. It can be any tape, but light colored so it will stick it all together. And then Silly Putty. I got this glow-in-the-dark Silly Putty because it's a light color. If you use a bright yellow or orange or red, it'll reflect off the back of the foam core, so you'll get a red tint, which you don't want. And then this is a lamp that I have at home. You don't necessarily need one. I want to give as much natural light as possible, but a lamp can be super helpful. And this one is super cool because you can direct the light where you want, which can be super helpful if you're photographing in less than ideal conditions and want a little bit more light. A last minute addition, you will also be needing a pencil and a pair of scissors to complete the project. Alright, so I got my poster board that's flexible and the foam core that's going to act as a wall. And we're going to put these two together, and the poster board here, this is where your product is going to be. And so you want this bottom part to be pretty flat. If it's rounded up, you're going to have a really hard time balancing your product on here. So you want to get this pretty flat, and then you want to get a curve in the board so it creates a nice even infinity feeling. And then I'm going to take my pencil. This is about where I want it. Here's the top of the board, top of the poster board, and I'm just going to draw a line. I cut the foam board at the pencil line, which is pretty difficult, but it doesn't have to be perfect. And then this should, all goes well, perfect. Alright, so now you have a little book of a poster board. Because it's really thick, it's not going to cut all the way through. And following that pencil line down and breaking it, it leaves a little hinge, which is perfect because now we have a top and a bottom. Alright, so you got your tape, and this part's a little tricky. I'm going to put this here, fold it up, make another little hinge, and get that pretty close to there. I want to take a minute and pause because we need to talk about the quality of light that we want to use. And it's very important to use an overcast day. And that's pretty contrary to what a lot of people think. You want to use, a bright sunny day, you're going to get the best light. But in reality, a bright sunny day, it's going to create a lot of harsh light. It's a lot of harsh shadows. That's when your highlights. If you have something shiny on your product, that's going to get blown out really easily and you're not going to be able to see it. So the quality of light is it's probably more important than what kind of camera, what kind of software program you're using to edit your photo. I mean, that's why we're going to be able to use this on an iPhone. You want to find a south-facing window in the morning. That's going to be pretty soft light if you don't have an overcast day, or probably same window for an overcast day. And if it's going to be raining all day, a west or a north or south window, that light is going to change a lot less from a east to west window when the light is starting super bright and then you're going to lose that light. So the light will be changing a lot. So a north or south window, the light is going to be a lot more consistent. And so if you want to shoot all day, if you just have products to shoot all day, that's going to be the best for the least amount of work and editing. Or if you just have one product too, that light will stay the same if you have to shoot for an hour or so or come back to it later. Now we are ready to take our photograph. And for the purpose of the photo, I am pretty far away from a window, but when you're taking it, you want to be really close to a window so you're getting the most natural light as possible. But I needed to fit a camera behind the window. So you're going to set up your light. And this is I'm really far away, so the light's really dramatic from the window here. But you don't want to shine the light directly on your product. You want to kind of use the wall, use the infinity wall to kind of bounce the light, and it'll reflect up the whole thing because the white is reflecting the light instead of boom and you're blowing out your photograph. You just want to have a pretty even light across the whole thing. For today, I'm going to use this little elephant as a product. That's what I'm photographing, and you can kind of see the shadows too. So this would be kind of mimicking that harsh light of a sun, of getting a super harsh shadow that way. You just want it to be pretty soft, pretty bouncing. You can go up like that. And a lot of products, depending on what you're doing, if you're photographing jewelry, if you're photographing something more awkward, something tiny, something big, it's going to be pretty hard to stand up. So that's when the Silly Putty comes to use, and you can just plop it on like that, or get, if you wanted him at a really weird angle, I don't know why you would want that, but for him. But a lot of products you might want a more forward-facing angle or backward-facing angle. So that's what he looks like. Now we are ready to actually photograph. And one of the biggest mistakes, and I've done it so many times, so imagine you, the camera, you guys are the sun. That's where the window is behind you. And this is the front of the photograph. So that's where you want to photograph. So naturally, you want to stand right about here to take the photograph, which obviously is my back, and I'm blocking out all the sun I just created. So one of the trickiest parts is kind of, you need to get low. Wah! Knock your lamp over, that's key. You want to do that for sure. And making sure that you're not creating a shadow with your hand. And it's also, you want to get as close as possible to it. You don't want to zoom in, which we kind of naturally want to zoom in, but that is going to be in post-production, because when you are zooming in with the camera, you lose a lot of the information, and it's way better to take a picture and you have the most information you can, and then you want to crop it, and then you want to do whatever you want to do afterwards. So even if you're out here, and cropping it later, that's way better than zooming in now. Another tip for photographing is we have it here, and we want to get all angles. It's from the front, from the back, and that, I know when I see a product online and there's only one photograph, that drives me insane. And so we're here, and even, you don't have to use them all, but you have all the angles, and you might look at it in the end and say, oh, you know what, I like this photo so much better than I thought I would, or hey, this is going to work way better on my Instagram page rather than my Facebook page, but now I have both and I can use them for whichever I want. The thing I'm going to talk about is how to take different types of photographs other than just in the white box that looks very professional, of doing something that has more of an artistic feel and a lot more variety. So to mix mix and match photos with, hey, this is very professional, white, straightforward looking photo, and here is how to pair it. Here's how it's going to look in maybe regular life. Here's how you're going to use it, or how it could look as decoration. So here are some ideas for that. Another artistic view, and I can just put our little elephant in there creeping over. I don't know, just cute. People love that type of thing. The plant would look a lot better if it was a little less dying, so I would recommend a little bit prettier of a plant, but this definitely works for the idea. I have gone outside, and we're in a pretty shady area, not a super sunny area, so you don't have that harsh light. And then take your little product and put it in a bunch of rocks, and it doesn't really make sense, but in the end it creates a really cool photo. Another idea is wood. That looks pretty rustic and people really tend to like that. This is kind of a funky angle. Here is a really good example of something I haven't talked about yet, which is color. If you can find similar colors of just this product pretty much matches this really well, and they go together, but you want to make sure you're finding something, you don't want to put it right on top of here because obviously it just is going to kind of blend in, but using color to make your product pop of just little tiny accents here and there. It doesn't have to be a big deal, but it's going to make everything really flow together and look very congruent. Here is another example where I've set up the elephant right next to, this is a real flower. You could use a fake flower if you want. And I think a lot of what's really important is to think about random things, you know? I don't know why an elephant will be hanging out next to a flower or pine cones in real life, but he doesn't have to be in real life. It's something that is just looking aesthetically pleasing and therefore will hopefully make people want to invest in it. Another example of an artistic photo is the interaction with a human element. I think having people in photographs, especially if people are going to be using the product every day or wearing it every day or whatever it is, to have a human element, and it doesn't have to be model, it doesn't have to be somebody wearing a bracelet or a pair of earrings or a ring. That, I think that would help a lot. I think that's a really good idea if you have those, but something kind of like this, of just propping up whatever it is, or if it's a book, reading the book. So using people in photographs is super helpful. And this one's a lot harder, but hopefully I can manage. Great, so now we have our photo and we are ready to edit. I have an app called Snapseed. It's free and I highly recommend it. You can go in and you can selective adjust if you have something that you want way more bright, you can lighten it and you can just draw. If you just want to draw on the elephant, you could do that and make him lighter, darker, more contrasty, whatever you wanted. So the first step, which we talked about already briefly, is I'm going to crop it. That's about where I want it. Okay. And then edit. And then you want to tune the image. And the first step I'm going to do is go straight to the highlights, and I'm going to bump that way up so all around him is way more white. Then I'm going to go to warmth, and that can make a photo really yellow or really blue. And this photo was a tad on the yellow side, so I'm going to drop it down just a little bit from 0 to make it a little bit more blue. So that's going to white balance it correctly. Another thing, so sometimes when you boost the highlights, you're going to lose some details. So bringing the contrast back, you can make it look really crazy or really flat. So making it pretty sharp, shiny looking, which is how it looks in real life. That's how you want to bring it back. Now we have a picture of a more artistic view. And same thing, we're going to use Snapseed. And and I want to crop it for sure. That's a little bit tight, so this square is not working that well, so I'm going to go for free crop and just widen that up. So I like that. I think that looks pretty good. Edit, tune image, and then again straight for the highlights. That's going to bring that background up and really let you focus on the elephant. Here, I think it's pretty apparent that the saturation, maybe you can't see it as well on the phone, it looks super fake. It looks super bright, like a neon flower. So I'm actually going to desaturate that orange a little bit to make it look more real. Now I'm going to go to contrast, make the elephant look pretty good again. And here's why I like this app a lot. You can go to selective or you can go to a brush. I'm going to go to selective for this case. And it's just this circle around him, and you can up the brightness, you can make it really super dark, and I'm going to up the contrast just on him so it only distorts him and not the rest of the photo. And there you go. There is a great product photo ready to go for your website. Thanks for watching today, and I hope you learned something new. My name is Amanda Stelling, and if you're interested in looking at any of my personal work, you can check out my website, which is belle-inc.com.